Have you ever wanted to be somebody else, different than you are? Being born a highly sensitive and not knowing it probably until your 20s, 30s, maybe 40s for me, it is challenging. It can be so challenging to grow up as a highly sensitive, not knowing it. And so it was for me, just looking around in my teenage years and seeing my friend, my best friend, he was just this social butterfly. She was so boisterous. She was so confident. She would host parties. She was always somebody who I wanted to be. She would have no problem speaking up, speaking her mind, just being authentic in the moment. And I so wanted to be like that. And I just didn't think that I could, because I felt weird. I felt different. I felt awkward. I felt out of place. I felt like I was too sensitive. I would get overstimulated. I definitely as highly sensitives, we tend to ruminate. We feel other people's emotions so strongly that we then take them on as ourselves. And we're just like, oh, where's the difference here? And I feel so much for you. I want to make you feel good. So then you change what you're saying, you change what you're doing, you're getting into people pleasing, right? So today I wanted to film another video on the 30 things that I wish I would have known earlier as a highly sensitive. And one of those things is that sensitivity is really a gift and not a curse. I'm sure you've seen it, I'm sure you've heard of it, but let's dissect this a little bit. And I wanted to talk about 3 things in particular, right? We'll start with the challenges, then we'll get into the beauty, what's so great about being a highly sensitive. And then the third point will be what changes when you decide to embrace your sensitive nature and to live authentically. Oh my gosh, so much changes. So let's get into it. What are the challenges? And let me know yours. What are you struggling with the most as a highly sensitive? It seems like most of my coaching clients, they really come to me because of their emotions, their wild and crazy, out of control emotions. And that was really the biggest thing for me always. Oh my gosh. Before I knew that I was highly sensitive, it's just, we're so intense. We feel things so intensely. So when you're up, yay, you're in a great mood. You're happy. You're alive or in love, right? Amazing. But when you are down, when you're sad, when you're anxious, when you're overwhelmed, when you're depressed, yikes, that is really hard. And gosh, it took me years of journaling and doing spiritual work and introspective work and figuring myself out to understand and really coach myself and teach myself to know that when I was in kind of a sad, depressed state, that it wasn't going to last forever, that it was going to move on again, that I'm not going to be stuck in that particular mood forever. And that's what it feels like when you are down there. So if you're there at the moment, just take this one word of like, it's gonna change. It's gonna change. Change is inevitable. You're going to get back out of this. You can change. And of course, there are so many tools, and that is really the basis of my work, right? It's just the tools, giving highly sensitives the tools to navigate this beautiful trait. And one of them really is mastering your emotions, understanding where emotions come from and how to influence and change them. So emotions were huge for me, particularly in relationships, right? Because gosh, when I was unhappy with my partner, oh, he would know. And it's not so easy. I definitely was together in several relationships where the guy was just like, this is too much. You're up, you're down, you're everywhere. Your emotions are just crazy. And then I kind of swung over into the opposite of like, I'm just going to play cool. I'm not going to show any emotions. Well, that's not authentic, and that's actually not very intriguing and enticing for men either. The other thing that we struggle a lot with as highly sensitives is just the overstimulation, right? Everybody gets overstimulated. It's just that highly sensitives, we have a lot lower threshold because we process so deeply. So it's a good thing, right? We take in so much more information, which gives us an incredibly rich experience. but we do tend to get overstimulated more quickly. And sure, that can seem like a really negative thing, especially when you have to, travel. You're going to be in a busy area, in an airport, on a train station. But there are definitely things you can do to mitigate that, to minimize that. And we'll definitely talk about that. Even just knowing that you're highly sensitive, leaving yourself an out, telling yourself I'm just going to go for an hour, or really resting ahead of time so that you then have that span of like, okay, now I'm fully charged up. Now I can be in this crazy place for a little while. What else? Just this feeling so different, right? It always helps me when I get reminded that highly sensitives only make up 15 to 20% of the entire world of the society, right? We're 15 to 20% of everybody walking this earth. That means during the day, 80 to 85% of people that you meet are going to be different. They're going to see the world differently. They're going to perceive the world differently than you do. That is why it's so important to get onto forums or to connect with people who are also highly sensitive, which can be challenging in itself because it's so interesting, because we are up and down. We have those different swings. It depends on which side you meet the highly sensitive. Sometimes you can get really triggered by it, but we'll talk about that more another time. It is important. What helps you is seeing other people who are commenting or posting or saying things like, yes, me too, yeah, I get it. Oh my gosh, this car pulled up next to me and had the speakers booming and I could feel it vibrating and it was too much in my body, or the beeping of a backing up of some kind of construction equipment was just like too loud for my ears. Yesterday, I was in a store and it was so freezing cold. And I even had my little fleece jacket and it was still just unbearably cold for me. And it really helps me to then have my self-talk of it's okay. I'm highly sensitive. I feel this more intensely. It's okay. I can get through 5 more minutes and I'll be outside the store, So it helps so much once you understand that you are different. And then you expect different things from yourself. You're not trying to be like everyone else. And it's hard because our society is so geared towards being social, being the life of the party, being cool, being in the midst of it all, being strong, being bold, all these things that we're trying to live up to that might not necessarily be our authentic personality. I feel like it's starting to shift a little bit, and we're definitely embracing the artist and the quiet and the shy, which I think is amazing. We're definitely heading that way. Let's finish up these points about what's challenging. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit. Feeling others' emotions deeply, right? Just before you know that you're highly sensitive and they're feeling other people's emotions deeply, it's hard sometimes even to distinguish between, is this my emotion or somebody else's? Right, you walk into a room and then pretty soon after it's all of a sudden your emotions plummet and you're like, what just happened? Why am I so, sad at this moment? Or talking with somebody and you feel their mood change, but maybe they're playing like nothing has changed and you feel like something has changed. We get gaslit a lot, especially by partners who are, maybe well-meaning, maybe not, because we feel what they're feeling, maybe even before they're even aware of it. So that can be challenging to navigate if you're not aware of it, if you're not embracing that part of your sensitivity, right? Yes, and then just things like ruminating, right? Setting boundaries can be difficult as a highly sensitive. People pleasing, communicating your needs, particularly in a relationship, can be very difficult. So let's move on to point number 2. What's the beauty? Bless you. Good morning, love. What's the beauty about being a highly sensitive? Yes, we feel incredibly deeply, which is also such a blessing. Oh my gosh, we get to see the beauty of the world. We get to deeply connect, not just to the art, but the artist. How many times do I listen to a song that really moves me, and then I'm thinking about who wrote the song, who's performing the song, what were they going through when they had those lyrics, that idea for that song stream through them, right? Just beautiful things. Or being in a place of just beautiful nature and enjoying the colors of the flowers, the sunset, just gorgeous, and just really taking that in and connecting with it. I would not give that up at all. And it also just, we're really good nurturers and caretakers and also leaders, because we can tune in easily to other people's emotions and their needs. We're really good at that. Let's see what else. Yeah, deep empathy and compassion. We're really good at that. Strong intuition, a rich inner world, creativity, imagination. We are such great artists. A lot of times highly sensitives are artists because we have such a rich inner world. We feel so deeply, which then we share, right? We want to share. We want to give life. We want to give form to whatever we're feeling so deeply in a piece of music or a piece of art or a piece of pottery or whatever it might be, or a book, right? I'm not saying all artists are highly sensitive, but our highly sensitive nature really gives us such richness that we can share when we're confident to do this, right? That's the piece that we're working on. Yeah, and appreciation for beauty, deeply connecting, right? Deeply connecting. That's another beautiful part about being highly sensitive. It's just deeply connecting to others around you, to, people who really matter to you, forming these deep connections with friends and family, and also your significant other, just having a very deep relationship. God, I feel like nothing else will do. That can sometimes be hard because, I do not like surface connections. Some people are okay with just having, I don't want to call it a surface connection, but highly sensitives definitely like to go very deep. And God, when you find that match who wants to go into deep conversation and deep connection with you, beautiful. What do you like most about being highly sensitive? What is my favorite? I would definitely say just the depth of my feelings. Now that I have really mastered, because I've really worked on understanding my emotions, embracing my emotions, and no longer being afraid of anxiety, of fear, of a depression, now I can really enjoy the depth of my emotion. I would never be anything else but highly sensitive, because I would miss the richness and the depth of my emotions when you're talking about creativity and happiness and fulfillment and love and hope and God, all these uplifting feelings that we feel so deeply, even just like the beauty of the moment and just feeling present, deeply present in the moment. I would not give that up. So we're almost at point 3. We're gonna have to wrap this up pretty quickly. My kid is being amazing. I thought he was gonna crawl into my lap, but I guess he's curling up on the couch. So before we get to point number 3, I just wanted to quickly mention that I did put together a free guide for you. It's called The 3 Things That Highly Sensitives Need the Most in Order to Thrive. So check that out. I'll leave the link below, or it's definitely on my Instagram, on a link in my bio. Definitely check that out. It's a great guide. The 3 top things that I think are so essential for any highly sensitive to be aware of, to hone, and I give you a lot of info with it, which is very easily digestible, so don't worry. So quickly, point number 3, what changes when you decide to embrace your highly sensitive nature and to be authentic, to live your authentic truth? Doesn't that even just feel like a breath of fresh air? I feel like everything changes because you understand, you're studying this trait, you understand that you're not different or weird or awkward or lacking or broken. You see that this is a very specific trait. You see that 15 to 20% of the society is like you or similar to you, which is incredible. And you understand what you need. You understand overstimulation. You understand how to prepare yourself for big social events. You understand what you need. You understand and you learn how to set boundaries, how to nurture yourself better. You start to have the self-love, the self-confidence of, I don't need to people please. I can set my boundaries. I can speak my truth lovingly. You understand and you get to master your emotions and then see the beauty and the depth of your emotions. Gosh, so much changes when you decide to embrace and understand this trait and take it as a good thing rather than a bad thing. Yeah, planning your days and your weeks around your high sensitivity is really a big one. And maybe even making a career choice that's different than what you are in right now if you're struggling with your work currently. And your relationships, right? And also once you communicate, I don't think anybody in your life necessarily needs to know that you're highly sensitive, but I would say your partner. You know, you want to be open enough with your partner to share that piece and to help him or her understand how to support you in that, how to be caught. He or she's gonna just love being able to have this guidebook of knowing how they can help, how they can help to support you and understand you better and how you're reacting in certain situations. So let's tie it all together, right? Sensitivity is truly a gift and not a curse. Living authentically, I don't think there's any other way. I mean, of course, I still slip into parts where you have to play a role and then sometimes you lose yourself in it. But it's always wonderful to have this authenticity as your North Star guiding you to know this is where I want to come back to, right? Living authentically, embracing my highly sensitive nature. Are there times when I keep it under wraps, when I play up, like I'm not? Sure, in certain situations you need to kind of show that more like a bold self of yourself, right? But for the most part, living authentically, being true to yourself, is always important. It's always important. And if you don't, right, not living authentically just exhausts you. If you do it for too long, it just exhausts you. This is who you are. Embrace it. Tell me if you have difficulty embracing who you are. What is it? What is it specifically? And if it's not something you want to put in the comments, email me. I'm so curious. I want to know. Yes, and that's like the last piece I wanted to talk about is there might be parts of your personality that you don't like very much, or there might still be parts of somebody else's personality who's not highly sensitive that you really admire. And the thing is, there's a difference between embracing and loving who you are, the essence of yourself, and then honing particular skills, honing particular parts of your personality, or even acquiring a skill or a personality trait that you might not have lived so far in your life. God, there's a big difference, and that is also freeing when you understand that, because then, God, there's no limit to what you can do or who you can be. But it's always coming from a place of first embracing yourself for who you are, and even the parts that you might not like about yourself so very much, right? Like for me, it's like I'm very quick to be triggered to anger. It's like I can flip from 1 second to the next of just like, Urgh. And that can be challenging because I let it out on my kid when I don't want to, and then fix it and make up for it, or on my partner, right, or our family members. So you learn how to navigate it. You learn how to feel it coming on so you can not go in that direction. You learn how to forgive yourself for it, and you also learn to just embrace yourself for it and understand, what is it that I came here for in this lifetime? Why do I have that particular personality trait or that particular challenge? What is it here to show me, to teach me? And it's always comes back down to love, embracing yourself, embracing others. A lot of times when we have a challenging personality trait, we're more compassionate to others who also have that or have a different trait that we don't really like. It gives us more compassion, more understanding. And yes, from a place of loving and understanding and embracing yourself for who you are, then you can start to work on shifting things, on changing, not necessarily changing, but adding things to your personality that really serve you. And also to know, like, intensity can be something that's difficult for others who are around highly sensitives, because we can be incredibly intense when we're happy, but also when we're angry or sad, right? And it's hard for others. And just learning and understanding how to see it from the other point of view, and then kind of learning what to do when you're in an intense moment of feeling. Should I just like go for a walk for a bit so others don't have to live through that intensity with me, right? There are lots and lots of tools that you can have and that you can help to hone your personality and really live authentically, but not like let it out on other people around you, right? It's like there's such a fine line between living authentically, but also, I don't want to say being pleasant to others, but there is a part of like, how can we live in a group, in a society, and share and give our best and uplift each other, right? A lot of times processing your own emotions by yourself first before then talking to others with it really, really hard. Okay, was there anything else I wanted to do to wrap up? No, I think I didn't. I just talked about the difference between wanting to be someone else because who you are is not enough or unlovable versus loving who you are, embracing your weaknesses and seeing the gift, the lesson in that weakness, right? Thank you so much for being with me this morning. Comment below, what is your most challenging part about being a highly sensitive? And what is your favorite? If nothing else, just tell me what's your favorite. Let's have a beautiful list under this video. What is your favorite part about being highly sensitive? I guess it's an incredible, awesome trait. All right, I'll catch you tomorrow.